Japan is often admired for its success, discipline, and low unemployment rates. But this image hides a painful reality.
Behind this statistic are young people and workers who are trapped in unstable jobs, temporary, part-time, and replaceable.
When unemployment strikes, it brings shame. People stay silent, afraid of judgment, afraid of being seen as a failures.
Without work, many lose more than income. They lose purpose, confidence, and mental well-being.
This is the dark side of Japan. Quiet, invisible, and deeply human.
According to Adam Hayes 2025, unemployment happens when a person is actively looking for a job but cannot find one. It is an important indicator of how healthy an economy is. How do we measure unemployment? Let's look at some math. From the graph, Trading Economy, based on Japan's Ministry of Interior Affairs and Communications. Japan's unemployment rate remains low and stable, only between 2.3% and 2.6% throughout the period. It shows that strong and resilient labor market. The lowest unemployment rate starts around July 2025, which is 2.3%. Not only that, there is a slightly increase from August to November, which is 2.6%. Overall, the small fluctuations in the data reflect normal economy and climate changes.
Unemployment refers to a situation where people who are willing and able to work cannot find a job. Compared to other developed countries, Japan generally has a low unemployment rate. This is mainly due to its strong work culture and the lifetime employment system, where workers often stay with the same company for many years. However, Japan still faces unemployment challenge. In addition, technological advancement and automation have changed job requirements, making some skills less relevant. Economic crisis as the COVID-19 pandemic also increased unemployment, especially in the service sector. Therefore, although unemployment in Japan is not all-time low, it remains an important issue that requires effective economic policies.
Let's us look at some math again. Japan's unemployment rates from 1999 to 2024 shows a clear downward trend, which means the labor market has generally been quite strong. In the early 2000s, unemployment was much higher, peaking at around 5.4%, mainly because Japan was still recovering from financial problems and many companies were restructuring. As things improved, unemployment fell below 4% between 2004 and 2007, showing that more jobs were being created. Then, during the global financial crisis around 2008 to 2010, unemployment went up again to about 5%, but this didn't last very long. To 2011, unemployment steadily dropped and fell below 3% by 2017. Even during COVID-19, Japan's unemployment rate stayed relatively low compared to other countries. By 2024, it was around 2.6%, showing that Japan has a stable labor market and that lower unemployment usually goes hand in hand with stronger economic performance.
Now, what are the types of unemployment? There are several types of unemployment. First, frictional unemployment, which happens when people are between jobs, such as fresh graduates looking for work. Second, cyclical unemployment, which occurs during economic downturns like recessions when companies reduce hiring. Third, structural unemployment, when workers' skills does not match any available jobs, often due to technological change like artificial intelligence, AI in the economy.
The causes of unemployment in Japan are mainly related to structural and economic change. As the economy shifts towards technology-based industry, some workers struggle to adapt to new job requirements. Automation has also reduced the demand for low-skilled labor, leading to structural unemployment. In addition, Japan faces serious demographic issues, such as an aging population and a declining birth rate. This situation affects job opportunities, especially for younger workers, while older workers may find it difficult to re-enter the labor market. Economic downturns, including the COVID-19 pandemic, has also increased unemployment in sectors like tourism and retail. Lastly, the rise of non-regular employment such as part-timer and contract work has increased job insecurity. These workers are more vulnerable to unemployment during economic slowdown, making unemployment to continuing issues in Japan.
So you might be wondering, why are we conducting this study? Well, we are conducting this study to investigate the cause and find out the solutions for the unemployment in Japan.
Now, let us delve into the effects of unemployment in Japan, starting with the decline in economic performance. According to an article made by Reuters, in 2024, Japan's unemployment rate stayed at 2.4%, and the jobs to applicants ratio remain at 1.27, showing that the labor market is not growing despite low unemployment. This tight labor market makes it hard for companies to find workers, limiting production and business expansion. As a result, firms may delay investment in new equipment and projects, slowing economic growth. The problem is made worse by weak domestic demand, as Japan had already entered a technical recession after 2 quarters of GDP decline. This downturn was mainly caused by weak consumer spending and lower capital investment. Even small increases in unemployment reduce consumer confidence, causing households to spend less on non-essential items. Lower spending then reduces the demand further, leading firms to cut output and hiring, which strengthen the economic slowdown. Have you ever bought too much food but you ended up not eating it all because there's too many? We can relate that to the wastage of resources in Japan. Japan's labor market shows a paradox where unemployment is low, but many companies still face labor shortage. The Japan Center for Economic Research explains that although Japan's working age population has been shrinking, the labor force has been maintained by higher participation from women and older workers. However, many of these workers are underused, working part-time or in low-skilled jobs, so output does not increase. The Bank of Japan adds that low productivity firms remain in the market for too long, preventing labor and capital from moving to more efficient companies.
Unemployment in Japan has also contributed to a widening income gap between different groups in society. People who are unemployed or working in unstable jobs, such as part-time or contract work, earn significantly less than those in stable, full-time employment. This gap is especially clear among married men and women. According to the 2022 chart, income inequality far greater for married workers in Japan by Nippon, a large proportion of married women aged 20 to 59 earn below 1 million yen a year or have no income at all. In contrast, married men dominate higher income groups, particularly those earning over 5 million yen and 7 million yen annually. However, unemployed men also face difficulties returning to stable jobs due to Japan's seniority-based hiring culture. Overall, this situation deepens economic inequality as those with stable jobs continue to progress while unemployed individuals struggle to meet basic living costs.
Next, social and household problem increases. In Japan, unemployment often leads to serious social and family problems because work plays a very important role in people's life and identity. A job isn't just about earning money, it also gives people purpose and social respect. At home, unemployment can put a lot of pressure on families. Losing a steady income makes it harder to cover basic needs such as rent, medical expenses, and children's education. As a result, financial stress often leads to arguments and emotional tension. In the long run, unemployment can also affect children and family planning. Parents may delay having children, adding to Japan's low birth rate, while children may experience emotional stress at home.
Now, let's see how Japan practices monetary policies. Monetary policy refers to the actions taken by a country's central bank to control the supply of money and credit in order to achieve goals such as price stability, low inflation, and full employment. In Japan, monetary policy is mainly carried out by the Bank of Japan, BOJ, to revive economic activity and reduce unemployment. One key approach is maintaining very low and at times negative interest rates. This makes borrowing cheaper and more accessible for both businesses and consumers. As a result, businesses are encouraged to invest and expand production, while consumers increase spending. This higher demand leads firms to hire more workers, helping to reduce unemployment. Japan also implements quantitative easing, where the BOJ purchases large amounts of government bonds and financial assets. This increases the money supply, improves access to credit, and lowers borrowing costs. In addition, Japan also uses yield curve control, which keeps long-term interest rates low and stable. Although it does not target unemployment directly, it supports economic growth and prevents deflation. As businesses grow and production increases, demand for labor rises, indirectly reducing unemployment and protecting existing jobs.
Though Japan mainly utilizes monetary policy, the country also implements other policies such as fiscal policy. According to Japan Annual Economic and Fiscal Report 2025, refers to government spending and taxation by increasing government spending or reducing taxes. The government can stimulate economic activity, support income, and create more jobs. There are three main types of fiscal policy. First, neutral fiscal policy, where government spending is equal to tax revenue. This policy aims to maintain stability without affecting economic growth. Second, expansionary fiscal policy, which is used during recessions. The government increases spending or reduces taxes to boost demand, create jobs, and increase income. Third, contractionary fiscal policy, which is used during periods of inflation. The government reduces spending or increases taxes to control demand and stabilize prices.
So, the Employment Adjustment Subsidy (EAS) is one of Japan's main ways of dealing with unemployment, especially during tough economic times. Basically, instead of companies laying off workers when business slow down, the government helps pay part of the employees' wages. Because of this, the EAS became especially important during major crises like the global financial crisis and the COVID-19 pandemic. Many businesses saw their sales drop, but rather than firing workers, they used the subsidy to keep people employed. As a result, Japan's unemployment rate didn't rise as sharply as in many other countries, and millions of jobs, especially in manufacturing and services, were protected.
There are so many unresolved problems that we have discussed, so naturally we have to come up with a solution. The first is to increase female workforce participation. Increasing female workforce participation can help reduce unemployment in Japan if it is supported by the right policies. Brandon Oliva 2019 mentioned that expanding affordable and high-quality childcare allows more women to work full-time instead of being limited to part-time jobs. Encouraging companies to convert non-regular positions into stable employment gives women better job security and supports long-term careers, especially after childbirth. Promoting women's entry into technical and leadership roles will help the economy make better use of skilled labor and improves productivity. Encouraging fathers to take parental leave reduces the career burden on women and make it easier for them to stay in the workforce. Finally, closing wage gaps through pay transparency and fair pay laws improve job quality and motivate women to remain employed. Together, these policies increase the supply of skilled workers, strengthen labor stability, and help reduce unemployment in Japan.
Another solution that we can recommend is to support youth employment and entrepreneurship. One effective way Japan can tackle unemployment is by focusing more on youth employment. Right now, many young people are stuck in part-time jobs or temporary jobs, which makes it hard to build a stable career. To address this, the government can strengthen school-to-work programs by offering more internships, apprenticeships, and hands-on training. This helps young people gain real experience and feel more confident when entering the workforce. At the same time, the better career guidance and reskillings are important. Japan can invest more in areas like digital skills, green technology, and healthcare, which are growing fast due to new technology and an aging population. When skills match what employers need, young people can find jobs more easily, and companies can fill labor shortages. Another option is encouraging youth entrepreneurship. Instead of waiting for jobs, young people can create their own jobs. The government can support this with startup grants, low-interest loans, and mentoring programs.
To effectively reduce unemployment and strengthen its economy, Japan must invest in high-growth sectors. The government has identified industries with strong potential, including technology, digital services, and advanced manufacturing, which are key drivers of economic expansion. Areas such as artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and cloud infrastructure are receiving increased public and private investment, boosting research, innovation, and business growth. Another major growth area is healthcare and biotechnology, driven by Japan's rapidly aging population and rising demand for medical services. Growth in digital health, telemedicine, and biotech has attracted both domestic and foreign investment. These sectors require skilled workers in research, clinical services, and healthcare delivery, expanding employment opportunities for a wide range of job seekers. In addition, Japan is investing in renewable energy and sustainability, including solar, wind, and hydrogen technologies, as part of its long-term environmental goals. These investments encourage job creation in engineering, manufacturing, construction, and research, while supporting a transition to a low-carbon economy.
To conclude, unemployment in Japan remains relatively low, reflecting a strong and stable labor market supported by effective employment practice and government policies. However, unemployment continues to create social and economic challenges, including income inequality, job insecurity, and reduced productivity, especially among women, young people, and low-skilled workers. Structural issues such as an aging population, declining birth rate, technological change, and external economic shock have further influenced employment conditions. Therefore, while Japan has successfully maintained a low unemployment rate, a long-term solution are still required. A combination of skill development, higher workforce participation, labor market return, reform, and coordinated fiscal and monetary policies is essential to ensure sustainable employment and long-term economic stability in Japan.